What's going on? Welcome to another episode of the Impel Forward Podcast. I am your host, Leon. And right now, as you can see, I'm by myself, but I'll be waiting on a few people to come in. Of course, my man KP, Mr. PL, he'll be here in a minute. Got a couple other people that'll be joining me. Co-host Renee, she's out. The modified gentleman, Larry, he's out. But I'm here. So while we're waiting, remember, go to impelforwardmerch.com. That's impelforwardmerch.com. All things Impel Forward merch. I got the Onyx Drive sweatsuits on sale for $57. Onyx Drive sweatsuits on sale for $57. Make sure you go to impelforwardmerch.com. That's impelforwardmerch.com. Got some other things on there too. Copy some merch. Today we're going to be talking about accountability. Why most people stay stuck and how to break the cycle. That's a lot of ways you can go with that accountability. And we'll be talking about a lot of different things. Hold on. Yo. What's going on? Going on? Turn your phone sideways.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. What's going on?
You, man. Keep me laughing, man.
Glad to have you on.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
You and I?
Nah, we got waiting on KP and you what's your Sean? Is it Sean?
Frank.
Frank Walls. Yeah, that's it. Frank Walls. Yeah. And we're gonna be talking about, I was letting them know that we're gonna be talking about accountability. Mm-hmm. And that can go all the way across the board from whatever, So that's what we're gonna be talking about. I was telling the people to go to impelforwardmerch.com and get them some merch. That's what I was telling them.
That's right.
Yeah. Good quality. Tell them, Will's good quality.
It's good quality. I have one myself. I have two actually. It's good quality. I'm satisfied. I don't feel like I just purchased something just because he asked me to. I walked away feeling like I got my money's worth. So.
And see, that's the thing.
I don't want another level.
That's the thing. I don't want people to support me just to support me. I want to give good quality. I want them to like it. I want y'all to like it.
I was impressed. I'm impressed.
Yeah. So, how's your year been for you so far?
Oh man, it's been turbulent. I could tell you a few things happened this year. A friend of mine, dad passed in his arms. A couple of days ago. He buried him today. I went to the repast. Another friend of mine, at the middle of November, his 4-year-old son shot himself in the face.
Oh, wow.
Thank God it wasn't fatal. You met him when I came to your podcast and he sat on the side. Sean.
Oh, when he came to the studio?
Yeah. And
okay.
That. Well, look, man, I actually got to jump off, man. I'm about to start.
Let me mute this guy here. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, and that process was overwhelming to watch him deal with that. Then to watch his wife get charged with endangering a child or something like that.
Negligence or something like that.
And then watching his son come out of the hospital and go home 2 days before Christmas, and then 2 days after Christmas, they come with a warrant for his arrest for possession of a firearm by felon. Then watching him get arrested and bonding out, and it's just been a loop of opportunity to be humble, be grateful, be thankful that it wasn't worse, and also, man, be prayerful, man, and understand you're powerless to so many things in life. And I talk about that with my life sentence, not natural life sentence. That was the one weight I wasn't able to deadlift it, squat it, change it or move it around, or nothing, man. I had to cry out, man, to God to help me deal with that. And I mean, I've been told by my therapist I'm an empath. So when somebody's going through something and we like that, I feel it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes I feel like I feel it more than the individual that's going through it. That's just me thinking that, but I feel it. I carry it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how my year started off, watching other people deal with these realities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it goes back to the accountability part. The guy you were just talking about with the firearm. I mean,
Yeah,
once you already had that strike, you
yeah.
got to hold yourself accountable.
You have to. You have to. You know, I noticed just in observation, we can sometimes make too many excuses for ourselves and for people that look like us. And
Mm-hmm.
people have said to me, man, they say, man, you hard on us. I say, man, I don't. It's not that I'm hard on us. I'm more familiar with us than I am other cultures. So I don't keep up with what other cultures are doing. Well, and this they do this. Now I mean, maybe they do, but not. But I'm one of us. So I keep up with us and where we stand. We don't have a system. We don't have a system to lift us up
Mm-hmm.
out of the holes that we sometimes willfully and out of ignorance fall in. We are our system. And the sooner we realize that, I think the better off we'll be, because again, there's a system set up to lift their own out of that hole again and again and again. We don't have that luxury. We don't have that opportunity. We don't have that reality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you had sent me a clip talking about accountability, and if I remember correctly, it was talking about people in the hood, how we might see somebody we know doing something wrong or might be on drugs or doing something, but we don't necessarily tell them, "Nah, you doing the wrong thing," or
Yeah, we
kind of
call it
aid.
judgment, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, don't judge. And I don't understand. I don't know. We need to do some research on what that really is,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and why we look at that to be so negative of. To judge you don't mean I can't stand to be judged either. It don't
Mm-hmm.
mean that. But if I don't tell you, man, you played a bad game, Leon, man, you should have hit them shots. Man, how you judge me like you act like you don't miss a shot? If we can't tell each other that we can play better, we should play better, and critique each other, how do we grow?
Right. Yeah, and that's that's one thing. Me knowing you for the short amount of time, and you knowing me, we go be upfront with each other. We laugh and joke, we have fun, but we go keep it real. If anything, and even with KP, me and KP, we talk a lot. We get on each other. Anytime we might think something wrong, we disagree. But it's all about just holding each other accountable. So yeah. And speaking of accountable, I want to touch on this for a little bit. We had to talk about this. What's going on with the lady getting shot in Minnesota? What are your thoughts about that? As far as, of course, people are holding Trump accountable for that. Of course, they're going to. Me personally, I think that I know a lot of people may not agree, but I think the lady should have just gotten out the car. You know, KP's back. I think the lady should have just gotten out the car. Uh, KP, I see you, but your screen is black.
Yeah,
What?
I'm bad. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it's good. What are your thoughts on that?
You talking to me?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, let me tell you my thoughts. Oh boy, when I saw it this morning on the news, I was furious. And let me tell you why. I was sad. I still am sad about it because the first thing I heard was that a woman got killed by ICE. Was it an ICE agent?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And I saw the video. Um, and I heard the explanation that be, the way she used her car, it became a weapon of mass destruction.
Mm-hmm.
And they got shot her in the name of protecting her and maybe others, protecting himself and others. from her weapon of mass destruction. And reason why, my main reason for being upset, and I was telling Frank that, I said, I saw a mother, a sister, maybe a wife, grandmother, get her life taken away. I think it was excessive amount of force. I think it was unnecessary. Easy for me to say. I'm not in the heat of the moment. I'm sitting at home watching the news. But as a black male, anytime something like this happens, I feel it vicariously, because I saw that possibly if a white woman can get killed for something such as that, I imagine how that could have, if that was a black woman. Wow. It probably would have, if I don't know if she had other people in the car, well, it probably would have been times 10. So I think when people in authority who happen to be white have the audacity to take the life of someone else that's white, that raises my hairs and raises my flag and gives me an alarm, because I already know from historically and in real life how they feel about me as a black male, and how they perhaps would have felt about a black woman had she been driving that car. A lot of people trying to get away from ICE out of fear, not always trying to accost them. It's not always trying to challenge them. Some of them people, man, trying to get away from them out of fear. And nobody, I don't think that, of course, Trump's comments never are helpful. They always inflammatory, man. They just incite the worst, bring the worst out of people that's already inclined to be their worst self. So with all that running through my head, I felt a deep sense of sadness and anger, because with a clown like him sitting in the seat that he's sitting in, man, it empowers other cowards, man, that have a badge and a uniform. They feel backed by him. They feel supported by him. They feel almost immunity, man, to do whatever. And that gets my attention, because as a black male, man, I'm on the top of the food chain. You get the biggest bag if you take me down. It's always been that way. And all of that came rushing back to my thoughts when I saw the caption. I don't know her per se. I don't know nothing about her, but I saw another life get taken, and I felt that.
Yeah. What's up, KP? I'm gonna get your thoughts on this. But after I say this, I'll let you talk after I say this. So, looking at the video, my first thought was why she just didn't get out the car. Because at the height of everything, we know, all they need is, well, they don't even need an excuse. They do things already. And it's like when she backed up and pulled off, she gave him more of a reason. And we can't give them any reason, which they don't really need a reason. So I just wish she would have, got out the car.
Well,
like
yeah.
you said, they running scared. So like you said. Go ahead, KP.
Well, I'm sorry I came in on the tail end, man. I was having internet issues. I had to switch to another thing. So now everything is a little flowing. So I'm coming in on the back end of it. But I mean, there's several parts, and I caught a little bit of what Will was saying that I can pick up. But I hear what you guys are saying, and like Will, I saw a person get executed from something that we shouldn't be losing our lives over. But if I paint the picture of what actually happened, like, so everybody was saying, well, why didn't, like you saying, she didn't get out the car. Let me paint the picture of the video. If you look at the video, and I'm setting this up so that you'll understand the way I see it. In the video, she pulled long side of the road, but she backed up. So when she backed up, the first ICE agent vehicle went through. And then you can look at the video, she was waving the other officers through. She was like, y'all just go around. the reason why she backed up because she let the first ICE agents through. And if you look at the video, you'll see her arm out the window and you can hear her voice saying, go around, go around. While she was saying, go around, those agents that didn't decide to go around or the ones that jumped out of their vehicle and went pulling on her door. And what I want you to watch from there is you don't see the officer that's at the driver's side front of the car because you see the other agents kind of blocking him because he's pulling on the door. And what you see is, and put yourself in the mind of her. So now that we understand, she backed up to let the first one through. And then she was waving the other ones through. And you could see it and you could hear her say, just go around, go around. That's when they decided to jump out and come and tell her to get out the vehicle. Remember, they was giving and Black people, we're familiar with this. They given commands that contradict the other. One was telling her to get out the way and one was telling her to get out the car. That's very contradictory. And it goes back to what we were saying, that parent, well, they were scared. They were scared and they just wanted to get away. Now that I've painted that picture for you, what actually happened, look at her driver's side wheels. We all know if you're trying to run over somebody, you're going to go straight to him. So the guy that actually shot her, he was in that first vehicle that she let through. He jumps out and comes out around to the driver's side of the car. And as the guy's pulling on the door, you can watch her wheels. If she wanted to run over him, she's going straight to him. You can see her back up, her wheels turn, and she's pulling off to go this way, not to run over him. She didn't even hit him. You know, well, I mean, she nipped him because he's got but my thing is, okay, let me put this in context. She didn't hit him enough where he had to go to the hospital, as Trump said.
I agree with you, but that's my thing. You give them, I give them an inch, man.
Right, but if you look at her wheels, we're all drivers. If you want to hit somebody, you're gonna point your wheels towards them. She pointed her wheels away to turn and to make that turn so that when she did pull off, she went down the road. Obviously, she's already shot and she crashes the car. So when I look at it in that context, because you got to kind of drown out all the white noise. Well, you know what the right wings are saying. They're saying, oh, well, she tried to hit him. His life was in danger and this and this. None of that is clearly true. Protocol says that most agents that are sworn in to protect citizens, which they are not, you don't put yourself in harm's way. And one thing every cop has said that you never get in front of a vehicle when someone is in it and the engine is on. That's just police 101 that they learn in the academy. Well, these guys are not trained that way because they're not trained to deal with the populace or the regular American citizens. They're there to look for illegal immigrants, technically, but they're just messing with everybody. So when I look at it that way, that's just cold-blooded. And you can see in the video, as her wheels are turning, he's already disarmed. He's already took his gun out. His gun is already out. And he's standing at the corner of the car. So he had every intention on shooting her. And so that's how I saw the video. As I looked at it, as it slowed down, you can kind of see all these things. And I think what they hadn't done is I had the privilege of some kind of way seeing the longer extended version of it, where you can see her waving the first one through and then her arms is telling them to go through, and they decide to jump out and, you know, and give her these different commands. And so just like Will said, we would all be terrified in that situation. One's telling you to leave, get out the way, and one's telling you get out the car. Those are confusion commands that you're giving to a citizen that's already hyper scared. So that's the way, that's how I see it. And that would indicate that this is a murder and not a self-defense.
But he didn't pull the gun out until that when she backed out just a little bit to go. You can see him.
Yeah, you can see him pull the gun out. That's what I'm saying. Before she went forward, his gun was out.
Yeah, because he pulled it real quick. As soon as she backed up, he pulled it out.
When she backed up, you'll see the wheels turn away from him. Yeah. Which further includes, you can see after she shot, the car went the natural path to where she was trying to go, which is away from him. He just so happened he got clipped because he put himself in front of a vehicle and every law enforcement tell you that you do not put yourself in front of any vehicle. When they pull you over from the back for a reason. When they pull you over, they touch the back panel of your car and come to that side of your back door for a reason, because you are in that vehicle and you're operating it, and them in the front of it is potential harm. Even when a second officer get out, he don't go to the front of the vehicle, he go to the passenger side on that side because he's out of danger. But these guys are not trained for that.
Yeah, that's the part that you reminded me of. They're not trained professionals for them. Yeah, they kind of like, it's like I'm watching a Western, man, and you deputize a bunch of guys, man, gave them a lasso and a horse and a rifle and said, go get them, boys. Slap the horse on the rump and
Absolutely.
let them just ride amok. Man, it's we've been conditioned. We as people of color, black people, whatever most comfortable to say, we've been conditioned to say, well, what did you do? I don't care what happens to us. We ask each other, what did you do? You had to do something. But historically, you know what I did? I was born black. That's what I did. Off the rip. And I think because we've been so conditioned to ask ourselves that when we see the police make a move in such a way, less egregious or to this extent, we always say, well, what did that person do? And the police you don't got to do nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
When they have malice in their heart, listen, man. When you are a hammer, you always run around looking for a nail. And that's what these ICE agents are. This is how it was easy to recruit them, paying them, giving them $50,000 bonuses and these $100,000 salaries. And you mean to tell me you will pay me not to like blacks and immigrants? You're going to pay me to carry, man, sign me up. So it's not hard. I mean, it's not hard to get that organized militia is what I would call them, to go out there and terrorize us U.S. citizens. ICE is immigration. They are not there to police United States citizens. However, under this Gestapo type of regime, that's what they're doing. Because he told us they're going to be looking for criminals and all that. Well, how you look for criminals? You know, right after they did that, they went right down the street to that school and terrorized that high school, waiting for those kids to get out of school. That's where the criminals are, in the high school. They went right down the street and terrorized it. So much so, Minnesota in that district closed schools for the week because they went to the school right after that, terrorizing those people. You know, so I didn't know that the criminals were at the churches and the mosques and at the schools. I didn't know that's where they were.
Yeah, I didn't know they went to the schools. I know they said they closed them down. But
because they went right there to the school right after it, man. You know, listen, with this administration, cruelty is the point. The whole thing is, after this young lady was shot, they didn't render any help. You had trained doctors that was in the community pulled up on the scene. You can see the video where the guy says, I'm a physician. Let me go and give her life-saving techniques. And they told him no, they wouldn't. They say, we have our own paramedics, to which the camera pans and you don't see anybody helping this young lady at all, saying that they had their own. They didn't. And they wouldn't even let humans take care of humans. That's how corrupt we've gotten. Well, I shouldn't say we, because I'm not a part of that we, but that's where we are right now, where it's them against us. And fortunately, it seems like they have the benefit of winning until the citizens decide to take actions into their own hands by any means necessary. That's what it's going to get to. Because, you know, it's the thing that breaks my heart is that, you know, this Miss Good, Renee Good, lost her life, but the right wing, that Trump tweet of calling her a domestic terrorist. You're telling me that's what domestic terrorism looked like? This white woman who has her partner in the car and a dog, because they had her partner was in the car and they had a dog in the car. You telling me that's what domestic? And I've seen tweets where they was like, they had a video of the bloody vehicle and the guy was like, this is what I voted for. I mean, you have to understand where we are. And they were like, well, why didn't she comply? Why didn't she get out the car? And they were like, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I remember in 2020 when these people descended on this Capitol and they were beating up cops and they were spraying them. They were doing everything. And Ashley Babbitt was shot. Okay. Those right-wing, the same people said that this white woman deserved it, actually started talking about justice for Ashley Babbitt. Ashley Babbitt was actually at the Capitol, and the cop had to shoot her. And not only did they lobby for this woman, but Trump gave this woman some type of payout, her family. That's where we are right now.
Well, yeah, that's where we at. So we had to get that out of the way. We had to talk about that a little bit. Well, even though we are talking about accountability, let's move on to us as people and things in our life. Accountability for one another, for yourself, family. So I'm gonna ask both of y'all this right here. Think about something. Why do excuses feel better than results?
Excuses feel better than what?
Why does the excuses feel better than getting good results?
Um,
Why do they?
What's the full context? You're
As
talking
far
about
as excuses. Say like you might have a goal to do something. Say like you might have a goal to go walk in 30 minutes, right? But you didn't go because you say I had something to do, or I didn't feel like it. It's an excuse. It felt good in the moment, but if you would have went walking and got your 30 minutes of exercise, you would have felt better.
Yeah.
Did that make sense?
I think lazy, sometimes a lot of different things. Laziness, undisciplined, not wanting to delay your gratification. I think of your value.
Let me put it this way, so you get a better understanding. Why does the excuses feel good but results feel better? Put it that way.
I think, oh man, why do excuses feel good but results feel better?
Yeah.
I think it's a mindset. If you results driven, then you're less likely to settle for the goodness of an excuse.
Right.
You'll push through. It's like how you eat your cake. You eat the icing first and then the cake, or you eat the cake first, then the icing. It's a personality thing. It's a mindset. It's a disposition. It's your muscle memory. It's your conditioning. It's what you're around, man. And go back to challenging each other. If you're not in a circle of people that challenge you to be great and be your best self, if you don't want to receive that challenge, you're gonna find a branch, man, that's convenient. Convenience, man, always, most of the time, kind of chops the legs off of results, man. It's convenient to not go for the walk, man. That ain't you, Leon. Everybody ain't in fitness like you, man. Everybody don't work out, man. You know, some people bigger than other people, man. We've been big boned over here the whole time, man. So you know. So I got him. I got a litany of reasons of why I don't do the next right thing. You know, you one of them kind of guys. You like to work out. I like to drink beer. I don't want to work out. It ain't for everybody. Everything ain't for everybody. We got a song for anything you say.
Now you got to clear. So let me explain. When Will talk, sometimes he say things that make it seem like he talking about himself, but he might be talking about just a scenario.
It seems like he's talking about himself, but it's
okay. But he just give us a scenario. I just want to clarify that because you don't drink beer, right? Or do you?
No.
Right.
But it seemed the way you answered. Yes, I
he talks like that all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't drink it up. Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, those are some of the things that
I think people that live in excuses are afraid of success. Because success looks like accountability, which is what your topic is. And so a lot of people kind of shy away from they're going to take the path of least resistance because it's yield them the results that they like and not what they should be obtaining. And so I think that's why some people are comfortable with living in an excuse world rather than a results-driven world. For those that have taken accountability with themselves, they won't allow themselves to fester in a land of excuses. It just doesn't happen. But you know those people by the way they move, by the way they talk. There's a level of accountability that they hold to themselves. And so an excuse is just not going to matter. And the good thing about it is when you're dealing with somebody like that, it's hard to not say please them, but you can't give them too much lip about, well, man, I can't because they're not trying to hear that. I find myself, a lot of times, mentoring different people that I work with. And because in every avenue that I've worked in, I started at the bottom and I've worked my way up to a senior level position. And so you can't give me no excuse. You can't say, well, I can't get this. I don't want to hear it because I don't live in a world of excuses. I live in the world that I hold myself to a level of accountability. So for me, I'm never going to accept an excuse, even for myself.
Now, I think we all have, I wouldn't say excuses, but need to be held accountable in certain areas of life and certain points. Because, me and you have had conversations, KP, about accountability and doing things. Even matter of fact, the last conversation on the episode, and you mentioned something about a mentor.
Yes.
Well, you just wanted, I think you wanted, could I call that accountability or?
Well, it will lead to accountability because we were talking about mentors and I said I hadn't had a mentor in my life in certain avenues in which I'm in prayer for. So having the right mentor is going to give you accountability. You won't be able to live in an excuse-filled world. And so I welcome a mentor. I welcome that as there's something I've never had full time in my life. Certain people they can call a certain person that's a mentor, or when you hear people talk, they'd be like, yeah, man, this guy's been more like a mentor to me. I can honestly say that I've had mentorship in my life in sequences, but it wasn't never a full-time thing. And it was probably on one thing and not a whole gambit of life. A mentor is somebody that you can discuss your marriage with, someone that you can discuss job upward mobility with, or someone that you can discuss your next plan of action in your life or fatherhood or however. I think that's how I see a full-time mentor in someone's life. Some people are blessed enough to have that. I was sharing with you that I have not had that. I had to be my own mentor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm here to hold you accountable for doing more.
For finding me a mentor, you gonna hold me accountable for finding me a mentor.
I'm gonna hold you accountable. And some things we talked about when it comes to a lot of times you like to blame other situations on why we can't get ahead in certain things,
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think a lot of times, man, that I just be venting, and some of that stuff is not, you're a friend, so I'm like, I need to be able to say some things that I would say to a mentor, and because they'll know that it's kind of hard. It's hard to listen to someone. If you're a mentor and you're mentoring a person and they telling you, man, we can't do this because of this, we can't do this because of that, this and that mentor know that you're just venting because, hey, man, I just watched you accomplish this, accomplish that. And he's just venting right now. Let him just get this out. And once he finished, we're going to get down to the business at hand. I'm going to ask him where he is on that project that we talked about 2 weeks ago.
Because what you do, what I say when you get in your rants, I'm like, man, you can't do that. You can't do that. I'm like, why you can't? You can't.
I do, and you do. I do, and you do. You're right. I'll get into my rants, and then you'll be like, no, you can. So I guess I guess you're my mentor.
Yeah. And so the video, did we finish talking about the video you sent me? So, okay, Will, I think you you had seen. Now I'm talking about accountability now in the neighborhood, in the areas of disruption, and so I don't know if y'all know that over in Durham, it's been a couple of killings. And matter of fact, KP, I don't know if you. So a couple months ago we seen the bus stop over there in the village.
What they call it, the village? Yeah,
in the village. So do you know there's been last week it was 2 killings over there?
Absolutely not. I do not watch the local news. It's too depressing.
I don't either. It's all on social media.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Will had sent me a video of what's his name, Wallow, and he was talking about things in the hood. And when we was talking about when the guy had made the clip about us getting on him about the mayor, because you said something about boys in the hood, black people,
right? And
that's the kind of accountability that you were talking about. That Will had sent me a video, and it was right on time for this subject, accountability, because once you get to start talking about people or young guys in the neighborhood, destroying the neighborhood, destroying the community, and once a black person talks about that, other black people or certain black people don't like to hear that.
No, they don't. And that's what the whole issue was of the things that I was saying were kind of misconstrued in some kind of way. I don't like being black and I want to be white.
Right.
Anybody know me, know that that's not the case. But I was simply talking about this issue that you're talking about, that if no one else is going to hold us accountable, then how are we going to progress? We seeing the optics of the village. Those optics are across small town USA. They in all our, down south, man, you can't go to that village. The way the village looks, that's how a lot of our gas station looks. And when you walk up, all you want to do is pay for your gas, get you something down the store. But hey, man, I got that gas, I got that tray 5. What you want? And you like, bro, I don't smoke. Well, man, you can get it for somebody else. They harassing you, and all you want to do is get in and get out. And it's a harassment of our own people. Now, when we talk about it, if we talk about it, then some kind of way we're highbrow, think we're better than everybody, and we frown upon the hood. We can't frown upon something we come from. But if nobody else has the credentials to talk about it, that's from that area, that lives in it, and is comfortable being around it, then who can be the spokesperson of it if we can't? The people that have lived in it, decided that we wanted better in life, and we decided to move forward in life and to X ourselves out of that lifestyle. And we reach back to try to talk about it, say, hey, listen, we was doing this, but we're not on this anymore. Then we looked at like Uncle Tom, all this other stuff. And I think it's a diversion so that the pandemonium can continue. Because we were just talking about this 2 months ago. Now you got 2 killings over there. So I don't know how we even talk about and frame it without getting blasted by our own people.
Did you think?
So what you do what I do. I just shut up, and you just let them. I mean, is it right or if it's wrong? Because Leon, you and I had this conversation. I was like, man, I can't talk to them YNs. I was just on the phone with my cousin. I was like, and another partner of mine. I'm like, bro, I don't talk to them because you can't. They call us old, which is a privilege. By the way, anybody listen to this, when they calling us old and all that, be glad because we made it. We won. It's a privilege to be old. And they don't know what we know. We've been 25. So we can tell them what's going on. They don't want to hear it. Yeah. So I don't know how you even address it. And so when a president gets in office like this person and he decides to send the National Guard into the village, now we're like, why are these people in here doing this and doing that? And like I said, Leon, when we talk, Miss Irma, who's been there for 65 years, she's glad there's there because she hadn't been able to go to the store uninterrupted. Her lawnmower got stole. She's like, I'm glad they're here. Because other than that, we're not going to police ourselves. And when we talk about accountability, I think what we lack in this particular situation is personal agency. And personal agency is, I am a parent. I am going to put a better product into this world than I am. So my son and my daughter cannot hang out in that village. And furthermore, we're going to move so that I can give you a fighting chance that you don't be corrupted by that element thinking that this is cool. You was raised in the suburbs. Why are you reaching back and trying to be a rapper now? You kind of get what I'm saying? So personal agency kind of takes on some shape that we all have to have. And we have taken on personal agency, which leads to a level of accountability. And so it gives us a platform that we can talk about these issues. We may not have the fix for it, but we have an idea. And that's better than nothing.
Your thoughts, Will?
Man, I go through it in any circle, any space, any one-on-one or group interaction. I always get the resistance from those that don't want to be accountable. I mean, I project what I want back. I want to be around or associated with or connected with people that's going to hold me accountable. Me and you go to the gym and work out, man. I want you to be paying attention to me as I'm paying attention to you, to know if we got one more rep, one more set, we could get something else beyond the mediocrity of just a superficial workout. And that's predicated on how I view the time of my life. 25 years in the penitentiary taught me that time is the most priceless thing that I have in my life. And I'm not going to waste it by settling for a lack of accountability. And if I could help it, I don't ever want to be around anybody that's not willing to be accountable. When it comes to our culture, our standards, they continue to get lower and lower and lower. And you become a killjoy when you can raise your hand, raise your voice, raise your eyebrow and say, nah, man, that's not right. We can be better and do better. People say, man, you must think you better than us.
That's it.
And you know what I do? I look them in the eye and say, man, I'm trying to be the best me. And if that makes you think that I think I'm better than you, you're not that important, man. You're not my standard. I'm striving for a standard that no man holds. And if you like that, I wish you would want to do that too. But if you don't, I mind my business, man. Ain't no pressure here. Don't ask me what I think, because I'm looking at that number 8 Kobe Bryant jersey behind your head. And even he would say it's some games he could have played a lot better. That's what people with a high level of accountability do. They critique themselves and they demand the best from people that they're around, because he's gonna dull my blade. And we don't take criticism from each other. We won't take it. We just won't, because you got a lot of nerve. And I think a lot of that is predicated on self-hatred, man. I don't like me and I don't like you because you look like me. So how dare you tell me about I could do better, live better, and be better? You got a lot of nerve. You must think that you're other than me to critique me. You gotta. And that's a problem, because if you in any circle of blacks that have a problem with accountability, you get accused of not wanting to be black by demanding more of yourself.
Yeah, that's it. That's the word right
so
there.
That's saying to be black means mediocrity or worse or less. Think about that. Come on, Leon, you grew up eating pork all your life. Now you don't want to eat pork no more. Well, yeah, okay, you got a lot of nerve. You grew up doing this. I grew up doing a lot of things in my ignorance. But to strive for more and better, you ain't black no more. You lost your black card. So you telling me that to stay where I am and not grow, that means I maintain my blackness? Like that's just so asinine, man. It's so asinine. So in my mentorship, I try to teach that to people of any age. But if you're not teachable, whatever age you are, then you're talking to a rock, man. You're talking to somebody that's obstinate, whether they 14 or 74. You're talking to somebody that's obstinate, and you get stoned, man. If they were still stoning people, man, people that want to hold people accountable be stoned to death, man. And stoning was legal then. That's why I brought it up. They'll
Mm.
still stone. Yeah, man, they'll stone you, man. You got a lot of nerve. I can't stand that joke of Leon or Will. Oh, man, nah, man. Them guys think they better than everybody else. There they go right there, y'all. Let's go stone them. You
Yeah.
kill a high, man. You a killjoy. When you
Yeah.
try to raise the bar, man. Yeah, you a killjoy, man. You try to be articulate. You take care of yourself. You try to eat right. You pay attention to these kind of things. You want to have a healthy spiritual life. You want to be holistically your best self.
Hmm.
You go
Yeah.
around, man. Come on, man. Y'all know this.
Well, listen, Will. That's you said a mouthful with that, and it often with you using a biblical reference of stoning to death, because that was biblical, and before it was biblical, it was barbaric, but also attaching to the biblical reference. I was sharing this conversation with someone, and I used the Luke 4:24, and it basically says surely that a poet is never welcome in his own home, or a prophet is never welcome in their own home. And basically, what that passage is saying is everything that we're talking about. Most of us right now are not living in the towns in which we grew up, because a poet is never welcome in their own home. That simply says that when you have outgrown the circumstance and the places that where you were, and you try to return with a newfound growth, newfound thought pattern, or newfound spirit, it does not fit into that society in which you come from, because they remember back when. The reason why you're not welcome, because they remember how you was hungry and you had to eat at so-and-so house. They also remember you showed up at the bus stop smelling like urine. They also remember how, certain embarrassing things happened in your family or how you grew up. They never left that. And no matter how high you extend into yourself and life, they will never forget that. So therefore, you'll never be welcome in your own home. That's why a lot of us that are successful in life do not live where we're from. I use the reference of someone like Boosie. Boosie don't live in Baton Rouge. He come in, he get in, he out, and he lives in Atlanta. The people, the poets that stay at home, they die at home. Like Shorty Red, Nipsey Hussle, all Young Dolph, all these guys that decide that they want to be at home and ride around in these Lambos in front of all these people that already didn't like you when you was 12, and they definitely don't like you when you're 21. You're not welcome here, partner. You are the fish that have outgrown this bowl.
Yep.
And you're no longer welcome. And that's what the prophetic word was trying to teach us.
And I learned from my therapist in alignment with you said. My therapist, I talked to my therapist about all of these types of things, and she said something to me that I won't never forget. She said, the more you grow, you'll attract your tribe.
Amen.
And you it's a revolving process, because where I am right now is a reflection of my growth, my development, my mindset. If I keep striving and evolving, it might not be nobody that's here right now on this branch with me on the next branch. And as a man, I have to accept that, or I can decide to shrink back. I know umpteen guys that while they were in prison, I don't know if out of boredom or if it was intentional, man, they start doing things like taking advantage of the opportunity to go to the dentist, working out, getting a proper rest. Man, wonderful, beautiful brothers that discipline themselves to read more, pray more, meditate more, exercise more, write letters, communicate, just holistically work on themselves. And they got out of prison and they shrank back to be familiar, to assimilate, and to be one of the bros. They didn't want to be saying, that place changed you, man. You institutionalized, or you different. And in my mentorship, they'll share that with me. I feel peer pressure, man. I don't want to leave my friends. I don't want to outgrow anybody. And I said, well, you don't want to live life, because part of life, you're going to outgrow a lot. And that don't mean that you got to be a man. You got the strength of character to be willing to forsake the former and step into the new. Because in the biblical reference, you can't keep putting new wine in the old wine skins.
That's it.
And
Growth
if you
is
ain't striving for new wine, man, then you're shrinking back. And if you're shrinking back, just like salt, you're losing your flavor. And when you lose your flavor, you're good for nothing. So tie your shoes up, man, and keep on striving.
Listen, Will, man, listen. I didn't know we was gonna go to church today. You in here bringing a rhema of a word. We need to get Pastor Nate on here. Listen, Will, listen, one thing about all of this in context in which we're talking about growth, when you're growing, listen, even in life, we have a size shoe that we wear that we no longer wear as we're growing. So as in life, so is life. And so one thing you said about shrinkage and about shrinking, and two examples I'll give. I lived in another state, not here, not Louisiana, and I was amongst the brethren. And it was a young lady that pulled me to the side one day, and she was telling me about, you're in the wrong circle. She said, you have outgrown these guys. You came here. Well, she said, you came here in a different frequency. And she really just kind of got laid into me. She said, I've listened to you talk about this. I've listened to you talk about that. And most of those guys don't engage it because they can't engage it. And she said, I've watched you come in with all this fire talking about different issues and going in depth about things, to now you only give surface things and you shrink back. She said, I watch you shrink back so that you can fit in with them. I said, you know what? You're right. I did. I'm guilty. I shrank myself so that I can fit in with the group of guys that I was with, because in the level of conversation that I wanted to engage in, they would not engage in that type of conversation, nor could they engage in that conversation. Probably could, but did not want to, because that wasn't where they were. So as a result, I shrank in an environment in which I was in, and I became a less version of myself. And after that conversation, it changed me. I said, you know what, bump that. I'm no longer going to shrink in a room. You're going to have to grow with me. And I remember Mike Epps doing an interview. And in that interview, he was talking about when he filmed all about the Benjamins, he was high, he was this, and he was drugs, and he was always high, and he would always go back to the hood in Indiana. And they'd be like, man, Mike, you good, man. You look good. You know how it is when you go home. They'd be like, man, you doing good, man. You looking good. And he said he got all kind of love. As he grew in his film industry, as he grew in his comedic journey, he got big. And so when he went back, he was no longer, it's like, no, man, I'm not getting high like that no more. No, man, I ain't doing none of that. And he said they resented him. And he said, I have to kill myself in order to fit in the room with you. He said, you were happier when I was killing myself than when I'm reviving myself. And I remember he didn't say it in those words, but in that interview, that was the context he was using. He was saying, well, as long as he was getting high with him, doing all these other things that he shouldn't be doing, he was good in the hood. The minute he elevated and grew out of those shoes and no longer decide to shrink with them, now he's not welcome.
I heard him say one time that he said it a couple of times that he has survivor's remorse.
He did. That's the interview. He talked about survivor's remorse, and some of us can have it. I purged myself of that. I had it at one moment, but I'm healed. I'm healed. No more survivor's remorse, because I realized that there's other friends on the other side of that survival. There's another life on the other side of that survival. That's going to be good to you, and it's okay to let those that were keeping you back. It's okay to let them go. Because a lot of times I can go home, and where I left some of where I left them is where they are still to this day.
Mm-hmm. I think, like he was talking about growth, accountability can build growth and confidence in one. As long as I know for me, I hold myself accountable. I don't know if I'm pretty sure there's areas that somebody can tell me that I need accountability, but sometimes I can't think of any that I don't hold myself accountable to.
You need to have more cutting hours.
No.
You got two baby girls that's going to be entering college.
Yeah, it ain't gonna be cutting.
I can't wait. I hope they get it. I hope one of them get into Howard, and I hope the other one get into Berkeley.
Hey, Will, this man want me to keep working, man. He want me to keep cutting for another 10 years.
That's not what I said.
But yeah,
I said, I hope those girls get in the most expensive colleges.
But yeah, I have a lot of self accountability because I'm always, and I do see I'm kind of hard on myself on a lot of things, and that I guess sometimes that comes from me, just learning more and more as far as business and growing. And a lot of times, like I think I told you this KP before. Yeah, I might have told you Will, but a lot of times I feel like a lot of things we didn't know growing up and younger. And then once you start learning, you want more and more. And sometimes I feel like I've been missing out on a lot when it comes to that part. And I guess that's why I hold myself so strong to a lot of things and being accountable for myself to learn more.
Listen, man. No, I feel you. I've been that way, but as the mentor to you, I would say that FOMO is something that creeps into all of us, and that's the fear of missing out. Mm-hmm. That happens to us all. What's important is that we identify it and cast it down. You know, you're not missing out. You're right where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there, and you're learning what you're supposed to learn when you're learning. I feel like I'm behind the curve on a lot of things about manhood, relationship, and even sometimes in the career, but I have to stop myself sometimes. I'm like, okay, well, let's measure where you were to where you are now. Are you getting better? And that should be the barometer in which we measure ourselves. But we all could suffer from FOMO. And it's important that you cast that down. Because if you don't, if you have FOMO, like we talk about trading, and we want to do this and do that, man, you get in there because you got FOMO. Like, you know what? I got to turn this $10 into 100,000 because I'm 50 now, and you lose everything because you're operating in that fear of FOMO. Like, oh man, I'm gonna miss out on the next crypto boom. No, it'll be another one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think also it's you could make that into a habit, like wanting to grow. You do it enough, that'll be your muscle memory. That'll be your habit. And once that's your habit, it's your fix. And that's how you approach everything. I want to squeeze the juice out of what up now. If you gonna burden yourself with it, then that's another thing. But if you find joy in striving and learning, and we teach a module, me and my business partner Tommy Green, we created Success While in Transition. SWIT is the acronym, and we teach people coming out of prison life skills, and we tell them that you either win or you learn. You don't lose anything, and that's how it depends on how you think about your life will determine if you really grasping and believing in that concept. And everybody who's been successful at anything, they say, man, you ain't got time to hear about the things that I messed up and the opportunities I missed. You just see the end result. You ain't see the story. That's it. So everything is so much predicated on your mentality about how you choose to see the situation as either opportunity or a setback. And if you want to become accountable, if it wasn't sewn into you as a kid and you end up surrounding yourself with people that make excuses, that's going to be convenient for you to make excuses because you're going to be around a bunch of other people that's going to say, man, don't worry about it, man. You ain't got to go work out today, man. Give yourself a break, Leon. You work too hard. You work out too much, man. Come on, man. Man, it's not that serious, man.
KP, you hear that? I need a break.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah. You don't need a break.
Now, Frank, I see Frank is on. I don't know if he's listening, if he want to talk. I don't know if he wants to be on camera or not, but he's been here for a minute. But just letting them know that if we want to say something.
Yeah.
But look, can y'all recall a moment that accountability changed your life? I'm gonna start with me. For one, was having my two daughters. I stopped doing a lot of things after I had them, and that's when I knew that accountability changed my life. I had a bit of Can y'all point to somewhere in your life where accountability had a big effect on you?
Oh man, I got many instances. As a landscaper, I'm often trusted to do work at people's personal properties, usually their homes, and they may be out of the town or out of the country. And I may be digging a trench and I may cut a power line. Could be internet line or something like that. And my inclination at times has been, man, I ain't gonna ready to say nothing to these people, man. They should have told me they had a line, they should have had it marked, blah, blah, blah. But my discipline, my accountability is to make a phone call, take a video, leave a note or email and say, hey, this is what happened. And don't you know, more all the time, I was told how appreciated I was that I owned up to that. Because what you do when ain't nobody looking is definitive of your character. And for me to take accountability for something that I may have messed up, a mistake I may have made, strengthens my character to do the next best thing no matter who's watching, because I have someone that's always paying attention to everything I do. And I honor that. And it don't always go that way. Some people say, man, I don't want to fool with you no more. You should have called 811. If you do this, you should have known better. I've had that too. Now, it ain't always been a hallmark ending in the story. But I walk away, man, feeling good about my integrity to what it means to be accountable. And those are the kind of people I make sure I keep in proximity to me, because I don't want nothing less. So that's one amongst many stories. And I teach that. I use my real experiences when I'm mentoring younger people and older people. I teach real stuff. It don't always go your way to be accountable. I was accountable to my situation in the court system and ended up getting a natural life sentence.
Damn.
But what that did for me is set me on a trajectory that if I could stand up to the firing squad and I could speak truth to power and I could be accountable to what really happened, even though it didn't go my way, man, it's so sweet when you tasted the freedom and the goodness of being able to be accountable. Man, I don't have a palate for nothing else.
Yeah.
I feel you on that.
Will, before you
Yeah.
go, KP, you said a word, trajectory. Make sure you go to impelforwardmerch.com, impelforwardmerch.com. Go to impelforwardmerch.com for all things Impel Forward. And the reason, well, not the reason, I was gonna plug that in anyway. Go to impelforwardmerch.com, but trajectory. So when I tell people about the logo is called a vector W. It's called a vector W. It's a W inside the word forward with the arrow pointing forward, which is your trajectory of going forward. We have a lot of times we fall, we stumble, we might lose we just have obstacles sometimes in life. But do not let your obstacles hold you down or hold you back. Your trajectory is forward. Impel Forward, impelforwardmerch.com. That's what the vector W is.
So you want to make me accountable for getting your merch?
Yeah.
That's what you want.
You know what all these podcasters, you know what? At least he's not selling no penis peels. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because normally they break in selling some penis peels.
Yeah. And all that.
So,
Shannon Sharp.
So I appreciate just pushing the merch. That's okay.
Impelforwardmerch.com. Go ahead.
The accountability thing that changed for me, I think, obviously a lot of personal agency with me. Our kids definitely. There are a few things. There are a few things that changed me along the way because I've had different maturations of myself, and I would say that without going through a whole bunch of them, I'm gonna just kind of surmise it and say that obviously when my son came when I was 30 years old. It was a growth period for me mentally and also as a man that I knew that now this person is solely relying upon who I am and what I do. And so I started moving in a different way, kind of like you said, Leon, you kind of move in a different way. The thing that changed for me and that changed me is I started looking within myself. And I know without us going too far into it or me going into this long dissertation, the background in which I come from and the way I was raised, it was not conducive to produce something that is going to be in a positive trajectory. So what I've done is I've taken those things that was in my past that was negative, like we said that in the Bible is God takes these big time sinners and turn them into big time winners. But what it started for me was this mindset, and there are two principles here. So one psychologist like Sigmund Freud that we hear. Sigmund Freud tells us that we are a product of our past traumas and our past of how it shapes who we are today from our past traumas. And those things are indicative of who we be. And if you fit into this box, this is what you're going to be. That's a philosophy of Sigmund Freud. But where it falls on its face is that you have a child or boy that's born and he's raised by a single mom. The trajectory in Sigmund Freud's philosophy is that he is going from school to prison. But what slaps in the face is LeBron went from school to the NBA. Okay, he was born of a single mom without a father, so that kind of stumps that out. There's another philosophy that I learned about after I've started the way I see things, and that's like it's the counter to Sigmund Freud's philosophy, which is I think it's called Adlerian psychology. And Adlerian psychology, it basically tells you that you take those past traumas, those past things, and you build upon those things into a positive light to change the trajectory that you were sent. It changes that because by looking at, well, I didn't have a father I didn't have a father, so now that says that I cannot be a father. No, Adlerian psychology tells us that no, I'm going to be the best father. So it teaches you to look back at those things and not to become a victim of your circumstances and the way you were raised, but it teaches you to look at things in a different light and to take those negative things and turn them into a positive thing. And so that would be the thing that changed me is I changed my mindset because I knew that I did not want the seed of mine to experience the things that I experienced. So therefore, I took those things that I took them on the chin so that he wouldn't have to. Because if you don't change behavior or you don't change the environment, it's going to be the same result. And not to go into too much of a tangent, but when you look at a term, I don't know if you guys have heard of epigenetics. I may have epigenetics, the study of epigenetics. And I'm just going to mention that before. Yeah, epigenetics is simply what epigenetics is a learned trauma by offspring that never experienced it. Now, what do I mean by that? They did a study of mice, and they put these mice in a maze, and they allowed these mice to roam free. And in certain sections of the maze, they put shockers. So those mice, when they would go into this certain area, it would shock them. So the mice learn not to go into the area because what happens is it will shock them. So they mentally learn not to go there. They will move without that maze, but they knew not to go there because it was shocking, and it was muscle memory. They took those same mice, offsprings of those same mice that have never been in that environment. They have never lived in that environment. They took the offsprings of those mice, put them into that maze with the shockers, and without even knowing it, those mice did not even go into those areas because it was past trauma passed down. And that's the study of epigenetics. And so when you learn about epigenetics and how we can pass down our traumas, you learn to cast those things down and not to allow that to be passed off to your offspring. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And so for me, learning about epigenetics or Adlerian psychology helped me mentally.
And it sounds like the awareness of that gave you a glimpse and a sensibility to see yourself before you became that. Now, knowing that, just thinking about that, okay, I've been paying more attention to my inclinations that I may have from, like I said, watching the lady. We started off the lady that got shot. I don't know what's the word. ancestrally, I felt a pain of possibly losing my mother at the hands of someone of an authority figure that don't care nothing about me and people that look like me. That
Yes.
bothered me that way. Where that come from? I don't know that lady. She did not look like me. She didn't look like my mother. But
That's
the
that's
whole
a past
reality of the
trauma.
situation, it brought up a trauma in me.
That's a passed down trauma. That's why you felt it. Also, along with humanity that
Yes.
you've acquired along the way. So you have that combination of past traumas that's been passed down because Lord knows what our parents and our grandparents see.
Oh
You
man.
know, if we go back to our parents, some of them saw lynch, and some of them, you know, some of them saw beatings and things like that. There is a reason why we could be living in the hood, and without no one telling us, we know not to go across them tracks.
Yep.
That's been
Yeah.
passed down
Yeah.
trauma.
Yep.
So you take a kid you take that person out of the hood and remove that up and study of epigenetics, and you bring that offspring into that has never been in there, and you decide to break that, them kids going all across them tracks because you broke that trauma cycle. And how you break it is you get those kids out of that environment so that, and then you do not display those traumas because a lot of the traumas was passed down to us because it was told to us. Hey, don't be doing this. Don't be doing it. Them white folks gonna do this, or don't do that. Then people gonna kill you. Don't be, you know, it is a lot of those things been passed down to us.
Let me see. How can I put this? I'm thinking along the lines of victim mentality. As far as what you just said, KP, do you think we hold on to that too much?
Victim mentality.
Yeah.
You saying as a whole, as a community?
Yeah.
Man,
as far as when it comes to growth, instead of being accountable to growth, you know, some things, you know, we kind of put that, say certain things that leans towards victim mentality of why we can't grow and get better in certain areas, you know, in life, as far as when it comes to being held back so long by certain rules or laws, you know.
Define victim mentality.
Yeah, define victim mentality because let me tell you why we're probably possibly asking that. Mm-hmm. Sometimes calling a thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes calling a thing, a non-melanated person, like, oh, there you go with the victim mentality. When you're saying, no, I'm telling you my lived reality. And but they cast aspersion on you that you're a victim. You're a victim now, or you get what I'm saying? And some things are just us calling a thing.
I agree with that. But it's sometimes I think we hold on to it too much as to why we can't do certain things. Even though, you know, like you always say, they move the goalposts.
Yeah,
in certain areas. Mm-hmm. But I'm always at that point. I always say that we can do. They may not let us do as much as we can do when it comes to. I guess what I'm saying is when it comes to. So like a lot of times you say you'll say something about why you can't make no money as far as in the stocks. People say stock markets for white people. Blacks can't make money. People say that. No, I ain't saying you say that. I've heard people. I've heard people say that. I've heard people say that.
You talking like Will now, but you checking on me.
Yeah, but a lot of times we do say we can't. I've heard people say we can't do anything.
I know what you're getting at. I pick up what you're putting down. I see what you're getting at, and Will, that was tough, man. I mean, I'm saying Will. Leon, that was tough, man. I don't know, man. I don't know if we holding on to a victim mentality because sometimes our victimness, it comes out in the rain, like you were talking about. Like sometimes you're talking to me, man, we can't do this. I ain't doing it. And that's probably some past traumas passed down to me that I need to identify and get rid of, or some form of epigenetics that I'm dealing with. That I know better, but verbally, I'm in a place, I'm just blurting this stuff out, and I sound like a victim. And it sounds like I'm still holding on to something. So,
Will, you should hit this guy sometimes, man.
So look, let me ask this question. What's it called? How would you describe a person that's very aware and cognizant of certain realities, right? Under this system, right? that we live under. But also because they're aware of those things, they go into any venture with their awareness, but they still strive to be successful and accountable along their way. So they hold this reality. I understand who I am, how I'm seen, and how I'm dealt with, how I'm perceived under this system that I'm in. But also, I don't use that, I don't allow that to kind of nail me to my chair and not try to do certain things, whether it, like y'all say, stocks or whatever it is I have an interest in. I still go at it like I'm deserving of it. I still go at it like how it goes, man. I know when I go to court, I don't care what it's for. I'm very cognizant of how I'm seen, how I'm perceived, and I'm automatically guilty until proven innocent. However, I go in there anticipating that my integrity as a person, right? Because I'm telling you, I'm on another branch because of my integrity and because of who I believe in, which is greater than this, even the system that I'm under is going to see me through. Is that a victim mentality? Because I'm hyper aware of how I'm seen.
No, I don't know. I don't think that, because I do the same thing. Like, I don't, I understand the past, but I'm like you. I go do what I got to do.
He's proceeding with caution.
It's conversation.
But if we don't,
go ahead.
No, I'm cutting you off.
No,
go ahead.
I'm saying it's conversations that we've had before in the past, and I've heard people say, like, maybe if you go in the bank, you can't get this because of this because you black, this and that. And sometimes
isn't that true sometimes though?
It's true, but some people think I'm out of touch because I'm like, well, I'm going in there to get what I need, right? I'm going to get what I need. I don't care about this person, what their interest rate is. I don't care. I don't know what their interest rate is. I'm going to get what I need. If it works for me, hey, their interest rate at 2% and mine at 7%, I got it for what I need. I'm good.
Right.
So, some people say, well, you out of touch. I'm not out of touch. I just say, but I understand it though.
Right.
Well, in context, they're going in there with a 506 score, right? Telling you out of touch.
Right.
Sometimes, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes, as I say, man, sometimes when people open their mouth, they put their whole brain on display.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand it though.
Yeah. I think that's I'm thinking of the word defeatist mentality. You count yourself out, man, before you even get in the game, man. You consider it a loss, man. Before you even play the game, man. They changed the goalposts. Referees might be against us. I get it, but we're gonna play the game best of our ability, man, and we're gonna play like we want to win the game.
Right.
But if you got the defeatist mentality, you might not try nothing.
Right. Yeah.
No, I don't think any of us have that. I think what we have is we carry what we can become a victim of as we're proceeding forward. And so we're moving in a fashion that I know that I can become a victim of said thing, but I'm still moving forward. Mm-hmm. So that wouldn't be a victim mentality, but if you hear someone that is not connected to us, as someone that's not melanated, they may say, well, why you bitching? You bitching about, you got the loan. Yeah, but look what I had to go through to get it. Or you beat that case, man. I was innocent. I was supposed to beat it,
Exactly.
And they were like, yeah, but you're going to talk about the system against you. You beat it. No, I shouldn't have had to fight it in the first place. That's the stuff we're telling you. But then they tell you, oh no, you're playing victim. No, I should have not had to fight this case. Mm-hmm. And that I think that's what we're saying. So I think that within our community, sure, there's elements of us that operates throughout the spirit of victimhood. Absolutely, I do believe that. I can't say definitively who and what, but it is there. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the thing about accountability, one thing about accountability is, I know that Will and KP, this is what I want to tell y'all too. which I already know that y'all would do it anyway. If there's anything about me that I need to be held accountable for, I know y'all gonna let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe this, and I had to say this. I said this to my mother one time at a prison visit. I said, Mom, you know what I realized? That the greatest sign of respect I could ever show you is to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I said I could fake it and please you with agreeing with everything you say, uh, tell you you're fine when you're not, and all of that. I said to lovingly be honest with you is no greater way to show respect. Would you agree? And she said yes. And that don't mean that everything I say is going to be aligned with you, in agreement with you. But it
Mm-hmm.
said respectfully, I don't know how to love nobody no better than that, than to be honest with them. I don't know how to show respect. I don't. If I can't be honest with you, to me that's a level, a sliver of disrespect. And when it comes to, like you said, you believe that me and KP, we would tell you that if there was something you need to be more accountable. I haven't been around you that much. I'm sure we hung around each other, we'd be able to pull each other coat, say, hey man, you could be
Absolutely.
a little bit more accountable when it came to that.
Right.
And I might push back a little bit. Next day I say, Leon, you know, I thought about what you said. You was right. You right. You know, she cut me off, and I was driving a little fast, and it wasn't just always her fault, my fault. But that's relationships right there.
That's it,
That's how.
bro.
That's just how, if
Mm-hmm.
we not doing that. Again, I tell y'all, I spent 25 years of my life, and I know time is evaporating. I don't got 25 seconds to be bull jobbing with somebody that ain't gonna keep it 100 with me.
Right.
I'd rather be dolo. I don't have to be around nobody. We ain't gonna sharp. How you gonna sharpen each other if y'all ain't gonna hold each other accountable, man? You
Right.
can't.
You
Yeah.
can see the way a man moves in his actions that if he surrounded himself with sycophants, some of those low vibration narcissistic people that we may see in society, you can tell right away they don't have a Will or Leon in their life to say, hey man, what you doing? Nah, we ain't
Exactly.
on that. You can tell the way a man moves. And also a lot of times those people that we may can name, they don't want those type of people around.
Nope.
See, because it goes back to personal accountability and the other thing that I talked about, personal agency. There is no way you're going to be telling me anything wrong because you wouldn't be in my circle if you were doing that. So I have to listen to you because sometimes I could be out my body or out my mind on a situation, and then once I calm down, I realize, all right, Leon was right. He was right. But you got to have that. But we're talking. This is we all preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're like, we're
Yeah,
accepting of that. Hell, I'm begging for a mentor. That means I've opened myself
yeah.
up to be criticized or to be
Right.
checked.
Yeah.
Right.
So how many people asking for a mentor? You know what I mean? So I've already know that I have to be in a correctable spirit and state of mind.
Yeah. I need me a therapist. I keep saying I'm gonna get one. I ain't had one yet. I'm gonna go one day.
Hey man, as someone who have always has enjoyed it and always open to talk to somebody, it's one of the best things I've gifted myself with because
I hear everybody say that.
yeah, I'm telling you, it really it's a joy to me to
Mm-hmm.
get that
Really?
objective perspective. I don't always agree. That don't mean they're human beings just like us. They don't know
Right.
everything. But
Right.
and I know how to tell my worldly therapist that God is my ultimate therapist. However, I enjoy the science of psychology. I enjoy letting you look into my brain and you give me your perspective because that objectivity can be helpful. Again, I think when a person decides to be teachable, decides to be a student, decides to be humble enough to really hear what someone has to say, whether it's a bum on the street, whether even if you're enemy, sometimes you get the best sense of critique and criticism for somebody that don't like you. That don't always mean they're wrong about you because they don't like you. They may see you in a way that you're not willing to see yourself. However, if you're humble enough to hear and be careful how you listen and be careful how you pay attention, you may walk away with a jewel. You may walk away with a tool to be a better person. That don't mean they your best friend either. But sometimes in the most heated argument with your enemy, they're telling things to you about yourself that you never seen yourself. And you go home and say to your wife, you know what? You know that old mean old lady down at the DMV, she had the nerve to say this, that, and the third about you. Your wife might raise her eyebrow and say, you know what?
She's got a point.
Yeah, you say, really?
You
How
didn't
long
listen
you
to
been seeing me that way? You ain't never
Right.
told me that before. That's just life, man.
Yeah. I agree with that, man. I definitely do.
Well, all right. So what y'all have anything final words y'all would like to say as far as to the people about accountability? I'm gonna say this right here. Keep impelling forward. Do not let anything hold you back.
That's
Do
right.
not let your setbacks keep you down. Impel forward. I'm holding y'all to that. Impel. If you're
Impel
listening,
forward.
not just
Yeah.
Will and KP, but anybody. If you're listening, impel forward. Impel means to take action. Keep
Yeah.
going.
I like that.
So yeah.
Yeah, somebody's asking you a question in the Leon chat. You a question.
What a situation that you were for KP. Oh, for KP. What?
That ain't for me.
It says for KP. What a situation relationship you were.
Where the rest of that sentence at?
Yeah.
I don't. I thought it was for Leon.
I know. I didn't graduate high school, but I can.
This is a GED section of the program.
Yeah. What a situation relationship you were. Can you tax Peru?
That's Louisiana. That's tax prep.
Prep?
Anything that ends in the EAU, like Battle, Boudreaux. Yeah.
Oh, that's
tax.
somebody.
Okay.
Somebody you know. Okay.
That
Somebody
ain't nobody I know. I'm just saying.
You said Louisiana. That's where you from.
No, I'm just because it ends in
Where you are funny, man.
I'm used to seeing things end in an EAUX.
Hey, Will, got to be somebody to know because he knew that was Louisiana text, and then they said for KP.
Man, I use deductive reasoning, man.
Okay,
That
but
I
it said
learned in my GED
they said
class.
for KP though.
I thought it said Leon, but I don't know how to answer a half question. I don't fully understand it. I would love to answer that question, but I do not understand about a situation relationship you were.
So what how you say that name again? KP tax what? Pro?
Yeah, tax pro or tax prep. Yeah, tax pro.
So can y'all whoever you are,
in the look at the wheel still laughing.
Can you retype your question that you have?
No, I don't think they should. I don't think they should. But so talking about child psychology, let's meet.
I don't know what they're trying to ask.
I don't know either.
Nah, I couldn't make sense of that one either.
Maybe what's a situation relationship you were in? Maybe
that you didn't see in on there. Don't add words.
No, I'm trying to add words.
You're trying to decipher, man. That's not your job. You're a moderator.
Yeah, I'm a moderator. Yeah, that's why I am.
No. I don't have nothing to hold you accountable for just yet. You moving forward with everything that you when we sit in community with each other, man, you are a person that you say one thing and do that one thing, and ain't a whole lot of talk about it. That's just something you do. I learned that about you. You say a thing like, you know what, man, KP, you want to climb the Empire State Building with me? No. Next week he does it. So I don't know, man. I couldn't tell you anything that I would suggest that accountability needs to be bestowed upon you to change. So, no, man.
Man, I'm thinking about a movie, right? I saw called Cider House Rules. Has either one of you seen that movie?
No, I haven't.
It's a very good movie. You got the actor Delroy Lindo, you got Erykah Badu, you got Heavy D, you got Tobey Maguire. You got an all-star cast in this movie, right? And these people are in an orphanage. And there's a scene in the movie where Delroy Lindo has Erykah Badu as his daughter. And they grew up in this orphanage. I don't know how long they had been there. It's been a long time since I've seen it. And one day when they were supposed to go to work, they had job assignments. Delroy Lindo was in the bed, looked like he was sick with the flu or something. He was sweaty. He was in a fetal position. And
Uh-huh.
one of the residents, the white guy, he was aspiring to be a doctor. So anytime somebody had a sprained ankle or dislocated finger, he would run to them to try to help him to practice being a doctor. That was his dream and his vision. So when he saw Delroy Lindo in the bed and said, "Hey man, you getting up going to work this morning?" He said, "No." And the abbreviated, he had cut his own penis off.
Damn.
And here's why he did it. When the white guy pulled the blanket off of him and saw that he was bloody in his crotch area, he said, "What happened?" Delroy Lindo, in a faint breath, said, "Sometimes in life you gotta make some rules, draw some lines, and set things straight." He had been molesting his daughter, Erica Badu, and he got her pregnant.
Damn.
And everybody's wondering, how the world you get pregnant? You don't have no visitors here. You ain't dating nobody, blah, blah, blah. So it was a real intense scene about a high level of accountability. When he came to his senses about what he had done, that was the price he paid. He served himself that punishment for what he did. And thinking
Wow.
about accountability, if you saw the whole movie, of course, that's not the whole movie, but the movie
It's
has a
not.
lot to do with accountability. The man cut his own penis off because he had no self-control. He had done something where he violated his own daughter, and she was pregnant with
Oh
his
God.
kid. So you want to talk about somebody being accountable? That scene particularly was driving that message home. And there are other lessons in this movie. It's called Cider House Rules. And I would recommend it to anybody that want to see a serious drama that with some real life lessons in there. And I say that to say sometimes as a human beings and also us as men, we have to choke out these opportunities to make excuses for ourselves because they always there. If you got any kind of flesh and blood, man, somebody whispers in your ear. Sometimes it's your spouse could say, "Hey, babe, don't worry about that today. Take a day
Right.
off." They don't mean no harm. Joe's wife told him to curse God and die.
Yes, he did. Yes.
That she spoke from loving her husband.
Mm-hmm.
She ain't necessarily had no beef with God. She just said, "Honey, I'm tired of watching you suffer like that.
Suffer.
Just go ahead and curse God and die, get it over with."
Right.
It wasn't that she had no beef with God per se. She was speaking from a position of watching her husband suffering. So
Wow.
sometimes the closest person to you can discourage you from either being accountable and responsible and motivated, and they don't mean no harm. If you don't have the resolve, if you don't have the discipline or the information or the tools to keep pushing, sometimes your best friend, man, could say, "Man, you know what, man, throw the towel in, man. You can't
Right.
win, man.
You can't
Go ahead,
win.
man. Why are you doing this to yourself, man?"
I agree. Damn. That's how old is that? That movie has to be
It's I think early 90s.
with Erica Badu in it.
Erica
Man.
Badu, Heavy D, Delroy Lindo, Toby Maguire, and I forget the other guy. It's a great movie, man. It's a good drama. It's called Cider House Rules.
Wow.
And that question popped back up, man. I'm interested. Did they read? Hold on, let me see this thing. What's the situation in the relationship?
Will, why you being why you being messy?
Sorry. Oh, they driving.
They driving. I don't know, but she's something about a relationship.
What is the question is, I would, if what I can kind of glean from what this person is asking, they're asking for me, what is the situation in relationship you could have been more accountable in? There are several relationships that I've had along this 51-year path. Will, don't be laughing, man. You can't,
I know.
seriously, man.
I can't wait to hear this.
I would say the title of our podcast is today is the subject matter of accountability. Accountability in a relationship is the question directed to me. The only way I can answer this is accountability is only accountable if you know it. When you don't know something, you can't hold yourself accountable for it if you do not know it. For instance, in the scene that you were talking about, this man was an older man. He had forced itself upon his daughter and caused a trauma experience that resulted in her being pregnant. Because he's older and because he knows better, he realized that, now he can hold himself accountable to the highest extent to where he actually chopped off his penis, right? Because in learning what he did, he knew the accountability piece because he knew what accountability in this situation was. It's hard for us to know what to hold ourselves accountable for if we don't know that we don't know. The only piece of holding myself accountable to any relationship that I've ever been in is being able to think back upon those relationships, whether it was work relationships, whether it was personal relationships, or whether it was love interests. Is looking back into those situations and realizing that I messed up. Let me hold myself accountable for that. And at that point, when you learn about the accountability of a piece that you did not know about, you hold yourself more accountable when you go forward so that you do not repeat that process. That's what accountability is, that you do not repeat the thing that you did that you didn't know that you were doing. And so therefore, that's how I would hold myself accountable today, as some things I just didn't know that I was causing or I was doing, or a decision that I didn't make or a decision that I did make. I didn't have all of the information of me to hold myself accountable in the moment. A lot of us don't get that clarity until we reach the level of clarity in our mind as we go through lived experiences. And then therefore we learn accountability. So that's how I would answer that question.
Hey, Will, this sound like you remember the movie Brown Sugar?
Mm-hmm.
When I forgot who it was that called into the radio station.
Yeah.
Asked him, when did you fall in love with hip hop? This sounds like a love story right here. I think it has this feel. She says, what's a situation in a relationship you could have been more accountable in? And then he goes on with this, as Stephen A would say, soliloquy.
Yeah. Stephen A.
Just trying. Well, did it make sense to y'all?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
You guys have experienced something where you was doing it, or while you were in the relationship, you didn't know that you were being, you didn't know about the accountability piece of what you were doing or not doing until you got out of it. Right. Therefore, you learned. Therefore, when you go further, now you're moving with a spirit of accountability, as we are now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that answers the.
I'm gonna call you TP. Tax pro. I'm gonna call you TP.
Pro, man.
Tax pro. That ain't how I spell pro in my English.
Listen. I don't know if that's Louisiana. I just know that Louisiana.
Hey, I hope that answers your question, though, TP. Because he gave a great explanation. I hope that answered your question. That hopefully
it was great. It was good. Yeah. It was good.
That's funny.
They said that's funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're amusing. So we are amusing to this person.
Funny how
you steady up that cross laughing.
Well, we'll see. Stay tuned for the next episode. We'll see what comes out of this with KP. When was the time you fell in? Do you remember the time you fell in love with hip hop? Yeah.
Oh, this.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Does the viewing audience have a question for Will?
Oh man.
If y'all have any questions, put them in the chat. Put them in the chat, please. If you have any questions. Oh, great answer. Love the brown sugar piece.
Okay.
Thank you.
They don't have no questions for me. They driving. They can't do too many questions.
I don't remember a lot of movies, but that just what happened right here just brought that movie to my remembrance. Yeah, like this seemed like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
turned from brown sugar into the notebook.
Yeah. We had some conversations backstage when we get off. But yeah, this has been a good one, man. Make sure y'all hold yourself accountable to grow. to achieve for new heights in this year's 2026. Being accountable in family, in friends, and relationships, groups. Make sure y'all collaborate with people out there. Collaborate, get more involved, hold each other up.
Hey, in closing, I got a question. What we think about collective accountability? See, I believe that as a black man, I have an accountability to you too and millions of other black males. I believe that that's how life works. We really intertwine more than we want to believe. So situationally, how I conduct myself, whether I'm in a good mood or a bad mood, will reflect on us as a whole. I don't like that. I don't think that's fair, but that's a fact. And I'm very mindful of collective accountability, man. How I deal with a situation can set a precedence or not. How I carry myself in public and in private says something about me, and it communicates something to the world about us. And therefore that's where you have stereotypes, and that's where you have all these other ideas about us as a people, because we don't have enough collective accountability. We don't want to be responsible for each other. It's your business, do you. Then therefore nobody challenges nobody to grow, man. I'm gonna mind my business, man. That's what he want to do, that's on him. There's without a balance in that. If you don't have balance with what I'm saying, you tend to live and let live. And that's only all good until it ain't no more.
Right.
It feels good to say that, because guess what? Most people who say that the loudest, I don't want you in my kitchen telling me how dirty my dishes are. So I'm not gonna say nothing about yours, at least not in earshot of you. I might say it behind your back, but I ain't in no position to judge. Who am I to judge? But man, if we don't hold each other accountable, and I don't anticipate that my accountability or lack thereof is going to spill over into how people perceive you, then again, what are we doing?
You know what, Will? You're right. The word that you use is a collective and not us as individuals. It's easy to operate in silos and just be individual in our thinking. But like you're saying, if we have a collective of people that we hold each other accountable, and the collective mean that what I do to me affects you guys, because it's accountability. There was this guy that I was listening to, and I don't know agriculture that well, but he was talking about of what you're saying, being collective or being an individual. And in agriculture, he likened it to rice versus wheat. And he said in a rice field, so if we're going to be we need to be collective. We need to be a rice field. So in a rice field, all the rice, everything is contingent on that water in that rice field. And if some part of that rice field get contaminated, it contaminates the rest of the rice and it can't grow. Whereas in the wheat field, it's more individual, and it can be contaminated around that one wheat and it don't affect the other wheat. And that was the analogy in which he was using. And I got it, and I got the understanding of it. And so if we're going to be in collective and using the agriculture analogy, is kind of being of a rice field, because you've been talking about this whole thing, like, man, how you conduct yourself. It's for everybody and not just for you. And so when you're moving in a collective spirit, that's a good man. That individual person, somebody that doesn't have a moral high ground, I don't trust you.
No,
I don't trust you.
No.
I got mine. And they over there doing something, contaminating the water. Now the rest of us can't grow.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah. And speaking of that, I sent KP this, but I have to send you this, Will. I want and for those any men that are listening, I want to try to pull up on my screen, but I didn't do this ahead of time, and I don't want to mess nothing up. So I'm gonna go read it from my phone. It's From Stress to Success: Mastering Money, Time, and Health in 2026. It's an event that's happening on Saturday, February the 21st. It's a men building up men to build up our families. It's a thing. Terrence Oliver one of my church members I go to church with, he has this group, building up men, and they have an event on February 21st. I'll send it to you, Will.
All right.
This is an event from stress to success, mastering money, time, and health in 2026, February 21st. So hopefully I can have him on here or a couple other guys on here to talk more about that. So
Okay, that's what's up. Where is it at? You know,
it's in Chapel Hill.
in Chapel Hill. Okay.
Chapel Hill. Yeah. February 21st. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Men building up men. Yep. Well,
as long as it's not men watching.
Are you
men.
gonna be the keynote?
no, I'm not gonna be. No, you have a key. Oh, look, I'm glad you said that. See, I'm keynote speaker. Marlon Smith. Marlon Smith is three of them. Tony Jackson and Dr. Michael Diamond.
Okay.
It's Dr. Michael Diamond, Tony Jackson, and Marlon Smith. Yeah.
Hey man, you read that really well.
Yeah, I
Those
can read it.
GED classes paid off, brother.
Hey, the D student. What you call it? What you say? The D student?
Yeah, what I say is I might have been a D student, but I'm an A adult.
Yeah. So, if you're listening, I have more details on that. From stress to success. So, yeah, I'll be sending some stuff out. All right, there you have it for another episode of the Impel Forward Podcast. And remember, hold yourself accountable. Seize the opportunity to grasp your dreams. Peace.
All right, y'all brothers have a good night, man.
You too, man.
All right, peace.